I'm with Relf Fogg, who's running for school board. Now, Ralph, would it be accurate to say that you have a passion for the school and the school board and the kids?
I have a passion for the future of this town and really the country, and a vision for the kids, not shared by everybody. I don't expect it to be, but it certainly springs from what our founding fathers saw for their posterity.
Mm-hmm. And we were talking off camera a little bit earlier, and you've got a lot of information you'd like to share today.
I do.
So I'm going to kind of just let you begin with some of these things, and I might stick a question in here.
Okay, well, I'm an advocate of the withdrawal that we had from SAU 64. It went through the process, and it was approved by the not only the Department of Education, but the voters of the town of Wakefield. We transitioned into SAU 101, and it doesn't seem as though the withdrawal plan is being applied any longer. There's some knowledge in town that would suggest that it's purposeful. I would rather embrace the idea that it's a result of non-information, not misinformation, but just not having the information. Some new members of the board are not fully aware of the withdrawal plan. What concerns me currently is the representation that we're not being fair to the professionals over there, and I think that through my research over the last 10 years, I can justify the statements that we are currently at averages with state averages for teachers and paras. And what allowed me to do that was just our district reports. You know, you go back, you look at the names, you add up the number of teachers. We average 34 teachers over there, and we have been for 10 years. Most of them are the same old names. Taking the total amount of wages in that line and dividing it by that 34. Currently, this is at the end of 2017, June 30th, 2017, 2 years ago. The average pay at that point was $52,017.39. There's a proposed 2.5% pay raise with a 3-year contract, included in that, as was discussed during the deliberative session, as another 1.6 step. So that's not just 2.5% increase; it's a 4.1% increase. And with those increases, you know, I did a little more calculating, and this year, at the end of 2019, June 30th, an average teacher's price would be around $54,995.38. So that's certainly within the averages of the state. And that's just what the contract, the collective bargaining agreement, brings forward. So yes, there is an increase in the budget, the proposed budget, and all of that stuff, but my real problem is how they come up with over a $10 million default budget when the voters raised and appropriated $9,174,456 or something like that. 10 years ago, we had 469 students at the Paul School, and 221 students going through Spalding and Kingswood. Currently, there's 428 students at the Paul School and 181 kids. There are districts that spend less per average student, but their academic achievement, I'll take Wyndham for an example, 13th in the state for academic achievement, and they spend about $187 less per student annually than Wakefield School District does. And Wakefield is at 199 out of 231 districts. So it's troubling that the costs go up, academic achievement level remains stagnant and in the basement, and I think we can do a lot better for the kids' education. When the professionals come to the board and say, yeah, we need professional development, we don't necessarily need textbooks, the board the board doesn't share that. There's a presentation currently that we're overspending our special education lines. We have a capital reserve fund that has not been hit. So if there's $105,000 that the voters have set aside in the capital reserve fund specifically for special education needs, I'm curious as to if there's a crisis, as has been claimed, why is that $105,000 still sitting in a capital reserve fund untouched? It may, again, be a misinterpretation of the word crisis. It might be, I can see, based on my experience in the school board, I can see shifting of monies within, it's all a bottom line budget. There is some tolerances for moving monies around, but when you're saving monies in one area of a budget, it doesn't mean you automatically go over and pilfer that fund to cover costs based on wants and not needs. And it's concerning. It's concerning that the students, in my opinion, and I have a little bit of reason to believe this, that the students are less important than the profession. It's troubling.
Yeah. Now, you've been on the board before. How many years were you on it?
3 years and 2 months.
Okay. And there's a couple of questions that came to my mind. I realized that when you're sitting with a board of 5 people, that everybody has a share in what happens.
20%.
But would it be accurate to say that while you were on there the last time, that some things didn't go very well?
Well, a lot of things didn't go well, and a point of frustration is when the board doesn't work as a board, when individuals go beyond the scope of what a board is supposed to function as. There's reasons why people are elected, when there's different type characteristics on a public board. Each one is supposed to have an equal opportunity to be heard. Each one is supposed to have a equal opportunity to vote on situations. And the most frustrating thing I had to deal with was what I perceived as some illegal activity, putting forward budgets that weren't properly discussed through the measures, the proper board procedures, contracts handed out with no discussion. It's just, I don't see that type of behavior continuing. It certainly troubles me to see non-public minutes sealed for multiple years. That always raises some suspicion in my perspective. I wouldn't be a board member that would want to discuss a whole lot in non-public and then come out of that non-public meeting and instantly seal things. The public board is meant to represent all of the people, whether it's 20% with that character or 20% with that character. 2 board members should not be directing everything. I would hope to give the people on the opposite side of the table a voice.
Okay, well, we've got about another minute.
Oh boy.
And my question would be, based on what you've learned, how will you approach this now, differently, or?
Well, I don't know if it'd be different. My approach has always been to listen and to hear. There's a big difference between sitting there and listening and actually understanding a counterpoint or a point. To me, I've been able to work with characters in town for 10 years, 11 years. I keep the common goal in mind. And to me, at the school board level, the common goal is the education of the children, or it should be, not expanding the profession. Other things, that I've had hands in. I stick it out. I don't quit, and I often see the fruits of the board or commission working together. And it has not been to the detriment of the town or the school district. I am proud of the fact that Wakefield was recognized by Pioneer Institute for rejecting Common Core. I am proud of the fact that the town saw the value of separating from another town and going on our own. We've always advocated independence.
Well, Ralph, I certainly appreciate you sharing your views with us, and good luck on
The birds.
March 12th.